So continuing with creating rollouts, there are two basic parts to this code. The top part here defines the rollout, and then this line actually creates the rollout or opens it. Now within this top part, there are two parts. First of all, this defines the actual contents of the rollout. The fact that it'll have a spinner for number, a spinner for length, width, and height, and a button to create boxes. And then this part is an event handler. So the way that this works is we create these user interface controls, and then as the user interacts with these controls, events are generated. In this case, we're just handling one event, namely pressing the button. So notice that this button is named Create. And down here we say on create pressed, do such and such. So notice that there's a repeating syntax form here. On the first line here we have a keyword, rollout. That always has to appear exactly in that way. Then we have the name that we give to the rollout. This is the name we'll be referring to it by in MaxScript. So for example, box tool, when we actually create that dialog, we refer to it as box tool. And then here we have a label in quotes. And that's what the user sees. On the spinners, it's the same thing. Spinner is a keyword. It has to appear exactly like that. Count is a name that I make up for this spinner to refer to it in MaxScript. So for example here, I'm referring to that spinner as count. And then number is a label that the user sees. And here I actually have a couple of other parameters. One says that it's an integer. In other words, only whole numbers will ever come up on this spinner. This says that the number can be in the range from 1 to 1,000 and that the default is 64. The second spinner, its MaxScript name is side. So for example down here we're referring to it as side. Its label is length, width, height, and it has a range from 1 to 100 and the default is 25. Button is a keyword. It has to appear exactly like that. Create is the MaxScript name for the button. We use it here for example. And create boxes is a label. That's what appears in the dialog. And down here, the words in blue are keywords. They have to appear exactly the way you see them. On, do, for, in, to, do. And on is what identifies this as an event handler. And pressed is also a keyword. So if I look up button in the help files, and I go down to the events, I see on, and here is button, which means the name of the button, pressed, do, and then an expression. So on, pressed, and do are all in bold. They're all keywords. They all have to appear exactly as they're written here. And that's what we're seeing here. On, and then create is the name of the button. Pressed, do. And count value here just means the value of the count spinner. Same way that side value up here means the value of the side spinner. So let me hit Control E here to bring that dialog back up again. So this count value is initially 64 and the side value is initially 25. So the final thing that I want to do is fix the width of the whole dialog. And I do that using a parameter to the create dialog command. So here you see create dialog has a number of different parameters, and one of them is width. So I'll just add in width colon 250 and Control E. So now the dialog is wide enough to show this whole label. So let's test these spinners by setting the number of boxes to 4 and the length, width, height to 10. And I'll just get out of this, minimize this, and zoom extents. So let me get in here. I'll hit F4 to show the faces. And you can see we have 4 boxes. Length, width, height is 10. So that's an introduction to creating rollouts.